Hi everybody, I'm Ryan, and we're going to walk through the sideboard of mono-white humans in Modern, which really is the new hotness in Modern, kicking button leagues and challenges. And like I said in my deck tech video, which you should watch, the last video I posted, a good friend of mine won a 100-person local RCQ with it, with actually this exact list, and I wanted to walk you through how to sideboard with it. We're going to talk about how to sideboard with the top 10 most popular decks, and hopefully you can use that information to kind of conjecture how to sideboard against the rest of the decks in Modern. Let's do it. So this is mono-white humans, just a brief understanding about how it works. It plays a bunch of crazy human creatures to synergize with each other and out-aggro your opponent, and then it's supported by Chance of the Annex to slow your opponent down, Solitude to get rid of stuff, and Shining Shoal to protect your creatures, pitching Chance of the Annex and Emeria's Call. And the most popular deck in Modern, as you know, is Murktide. Against Murktide, I like bringing in Borrington Forge Tender. I actually like Forge Tender for a couple different reasons. One, it's actually pretty good against like Fury, or if you want to protect a specific creature from Lightning Bolt or Unholy Heat, but mostly because it is our very easy answer to our opponent's turn 1 Ragavan, which can often be a nightmare. And I like Extraction Specialist. Our opponent is trying to win the game by stopping our aggro and then just like attacking with creatures and getting stuff out of the way, and we don't want them to do that. And being able to play cards like Extraction Specialist to bring stuff back makes it really, really hard on our opponent attempting to 1-for-1 us. And that being said, even though it's a 1-drop, I'm not a huge fan of Hopeful Initiate in this matchup. They have no artifact or enchantments that we really care about, and it's just not a hyper-aggressive creature and doesn't really stop what our opponent's doing. And I like shaving on a Shining Shoal just because, like, the best a Shining Shoal is like getting rid of like their one-of sideboard Fury from killing our creatures. And will very often just sit in our hand as we wait for them to like Unholy Heat or Lightning Bolt one of our creatures. That's why I sideboard against Murktide. Against Creativity, what we want to do is bring in our Containment Priests. Where'd it go? Our Containment Priests. And I'm actually a fan of Cathar Commando because of cards like Leyline Binding, or being able to like interrupt a Creativity on a treasure or something like that. Like, it's a pretty versatile card against Creativity. That being said, I think Shining Shoal is awful against Creativity. Sometimes you can protect against Lightning Bolt, which is nice, but I'd rather have things that do stuff in our deck over like protecting against a Lightning Bolt. Often against decks when they're attacking with really big creatures, it's really cool to, you know, be able to like play cards like Shining Shoal or Deflecting Palm or stuff like that and deal damage back. But if we're being hit by Archon of Cruelty, that means they've gained 6 life just off of that, and we've probably lost the game anyway. So that's why I sideboard against Creativity. Against Hammer Time, we are bringing in Cathar Commando, and that is it. It is a race, and I actually think we sometimes win this race because of cards like Shining Shoal being able to, like, you know, stop the 10-10 from dealing all 10 damage to us. Instead, like, we're only going to take 3 and our opponent's going to take 7 and stuff like that. But they have so many cheap and free spells. Chance of the NX sometimes isn't that good in this matchup, and so we're going to shave 1 Chance of the NX, and this is all the sideboarding we are going to be doing against Hammer Time. Against Red-Black Scam, we're going to be bringing in Burrington Forge Tender again for that Ragavan issue, and also its extra protection against Fury. We're going to be bringing in Containment Priest so they can literally never scam us if we can play Containment Priest. Love Sanctifier Envic against Scam. This is a big board, by the way, because if we play this card, they can never remove it. And Extraction Specialist is good against Scam. You know, being able to stop their scam and start playing that end game, Extraction Specialist is a key part of that because their mid-range plan involves a lot of removal spells and things like Fury. That being said, I'm not a big fan of Hopeful Initiate. It's just not enough aggro, and there's no artifacts or enchantments that they play that we even remotely care about. I actually don't like Thalia Garden of Thraben because a lot of time they've already scammed us, or they're playing a card like Fury and, like, you know, are things dead before they even have to feign death or Undying Malice or whatever. So I actually like taking out Thalia against Scam. Again, the point of this is we're bringing in hate cards and just kind of taking out generally good cards. And I like taking out Esper Sentinel for a similar reason as Thalia. Very rarely does this actually trigger against Scam. So this is how I sideboard against Scam. Good old 11-card sideboard compared to Hammer Titan's 1-card sideboard. Next up is Crashing Footfalls, also known as Rhinos. Against this deck, we are bringing in Draneth Magistrate because it stops cascading stuff. Opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hands. And we're bringing in Sanctum Prelate because we can send say 0 and they can just never cast the Rhino card ever. And this is a pretty clean sideboard alongside Hopeful Initiate. And we just aggro our opponent out. The 6th most popular deck in Modern is Burn. Against Burn, obviously, Burrington Forge Tender is great. Like, being able to stop some of their burn spells feels really, really good. I like Extraction Specialists because sometimes they point their burn spells at our creatures and are kind of forced to, and having a creature that is a must answer because of lifelink feels really good. And Sanctifier Envic is a really solid magic card against Burn because it is totally unanswerable, completely stops their creatures, and allows us to just attack every single turn. I don't like Hopeful Initiate because it doesn't really block anything until it already attacks. And there's no artifacts or enchantments we really care about killing. You know, I'm not worried about Eidolon, to be totally frank, especially when we're applying this much pressure. I actually don't like Solitude at all. Paying 2 cards to get rid of a card like Goblin Guide when most of our cards block efficiently, I am not interested in at all. And we're going to be shaving on 1 Adeline. 3 mana is a lot when we're doing this like really super low to the ground aggro mirrors. So this is how I sideboard against Burn. The 7th most popular deck is 4/5 color Omnath. And to be totally real, we are sticking to the plan with this deck. They have a lot of removal spells and cards like Fury. So cards like Burnt and Forge Tender are pretty okay. And because they like are based around removal spells, Extraction Specialists to keep applying that aggro feel really good. Obviously, Hopeful Initiate we take out because there's nothing really care about that they are bringing in. And we're shaving a Thalia because while they have some spells, most of the spells that we care about are creatures. So Thalia often underperforms in the matchup, though good sometimes, so we're keeping 3 in. That's how I sideboard against 4/5 color Omnath. Against Amulet Titan, we are bringing in Cathar Commando to try to take out Amulet and Dryad of Elysian Grove. And we're bringing in Sanctum Prelate. Being able to say 6 for Primeval Titan forces them to kill us with the Cultivator Colossus, which you can Solitude, and that feels really good. That being said, I'm not actually a big fan of Thalia in the matchup. If we're on the play, it can slow them down ever so slightly. They don't actually play that many spells. And a lot of the spells that we're afraid of, besides specifically the 1 mana Amulet of Vigor, which they can get around very easily, are 0 mana like Summoner's Pact. We're mostly afraid of the creatures. And rarely does Thalia keep them off of actually being able to kill us. Sometimes if we can get Thalia down before Amulet of Vigor, or if the math works out very slightly so that they can't quite Summoner's Pact and play the Titan, Thalia's good. Most situations, Thalia is actually not very good against Amulet Titan. And that's why I sideboard against Amulet Titan. The 9th most popular deck in Modern is Yawgmoth. Against Yawg, we are bringing in the Containment Priest. Bringing Containment Priest because it makes like Undying just not work, makes Quarter Calling not work, makes Eldritch Evolution not work. It is insane against Yawgmoth. We're bringing in Extraction Specialists so that we can like, you know, wantonly attack into their board, which always feels great when you can just bring something back with Extraction Specialists. We're going to be bringing out Hopeful Initiate. There's nothing we really care about killing with Hopeful Initiate. And we are bringing out 2 Thalia. The reason we're only bringing out 2 Thalia is it's actually kind of okay against Eldritch Evolution and Court of Calling. And it having First Strike is really solid against a lot of the deck, being able to attack into it. But it doesn't really fulfill the role that we put it in the deck for. So it's I sideboard against Yawg. The 10th most popular deck and the final deck that we're going to learn how to sideboard against is Domain Zoo. Against Domain Zoo, we are bringing in Burrington Forge Tender. Is really good at blocking cards like Territorial Kavu and Ragavan. It's also solid against like stopping like the aggro and being able to kill Adeline with Tribal Flames and things like that. And that is the only card we are bringing in. We are okay with being a hyper low to the ground aggro deck in this matchup. They are mostly creature focused, so we are shaving on Thalia. I actually like keeping Esper Sentinel in because you can kind of abuse your opponent for playing cards like Lightning Bolt or Tribal Flames and stuff against you. And this is how I sideboard against Domain Zoo. Also, Esper Sentinel is a 1-drop, and that's just like insane in this deck, having as many 1-drops as possible. So there you have how to sideboard against the top 10 most popular decks in Modern with this awesome mono white humans list. I encourage that you play it, and if you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Check me out on social media, as links are above me and in the description, as always. Especially on Twitch, which I'm streaming most nights there now. I hope you have a wonderful night. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.